Okay, here we go. This week at Bungie, we take a look at every grain in the ability sandbox. Hello and welcome to another sandbox-focused TWAB. If you're new, you might be asking, what's the sandbox? Well, it's complicated. Split between the weapons you use, the armor you equip, the perks and mods that you hunt for, and the enemies you face. Let's be real. The D2 sandbox is broad. Last week, we focused on the weapon sandbox, that is true, and what changes they got for December 7th. This week, we're taking a pass on the abilities that your guardians possess. Think supers, melees, grenades, and class abilities. I highly recommend you grab a glass of water, maybe some advanced GG with promo code Fallout, and even a snack, because we got a pretty lengthy update. Okay. Scrolling on down before we dive into the details. Oh, God, for the love of God. Okay. 30th anniversary out on December 7th, which just so happens to be 19 days from the publication of this blog article. In-game, there's still plenty to do between seasonal challenges, trials, the occasional Iron Banner, yada, yada, yada. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving. Cool. Expect a very light TWAB next Wednesday. Good. Okay, sandbox time. There are buffs and nerfs. There are tuning levers that we've recently unlocked. With back-end changes, there are clear separations between PvE and PvP, and more.
Nice.
There's a lot going on here. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we go. Are we finally ready to get into it?
Oh, yeah, it's Kevin.
Oh, our good boy Kevin here. Hey all, Kevin Yanez here to give you a quick intro before I hand off to fellow designers Eric and Mike. A few TWABs ago, I gave a brief roadmap leading towards our 30th anniversary, the Witch Queen and beyond. A new roadmap will not likely happen for some time after this, that's fair, as the team is heads down on more than a few initiatives. Cool. One of the initiatives you're going to hear about today is an adjustment to ability regeneration as a whole. I knew it. And a refocusing of Crucible gameplay on weapons. The team has touched almost every piece of abilities content with this release, wow. And I'm fairly convinced this will be our biggest balance patch ever. Wow. Earlier this year, we heard overwhelming feedback that PvP has been largely dominated by ability usage. Players felt that abilities were firing off too frequently with too much potency and too little investment. At its core, Destiny is a game about space magic, so any adjustments to our abilities must be made with care. We believe the changes we have made will keep the heart of what makes Destiny abilities fun intact, while shaving down some of the excessive cases we've seen out there. I feel it's important to reinforce here that part of Destiny's strength is that it's a live game, and we're able to iterate and improve the game as time goes on. This means that we're building new foundational systems like the one you'll read about today with that in mind. We're giving ourselves more balancing knobs to tune than we've ever had before, and we hope you'll start to see why that's so important. You want to take over here?
Sure. We hope the 30th anniversary shakes up the sandbox in new ways and gets you excited for even more changes coming in the Witch Queen. The team will likely go heads down for a little bit, as we have Solar and Arc to go to 3.0 alongside with other insanely cool initiatives. The team takes player feedback seriously, and as Destiny players ourselves, we have an intrinsic fire to keep improving things for everyone. We hope that once you've seen over... Hold on. We hope that... we hope what you've seen over the last year reinforces that this team is both about competitive balance and making incredibly dope new shit. Okay. Now I'm going to fade away into the ether as Eric Smith takes us into what's coming next. The winds of change. In 30th anniversary, we've changed the way ability cooldowns work. Up until now, cooldowns across individual ability types, the grenade, melee, super, and class, have generally been identical between all abilities of the same type. For example, all grenades in D2 share the same cooldown time, with the exception of stasis grenades. This shared cooldown means that grenades need to have roughly the same power output because they have the same time cost. And for the 30th anniversary, we made a change that allows us to tune the cooldown to each ability separately. This gives us a new knob to turn when balancing abilities that are too powerful or not powerful enough. Now that we have this new system in place, we've done a cooldown tuning pass for all subclass abilities in the game, tuning each ability's cooldown time against its power output. We've also tuned ability power outputs and assigned cooldown times accordingly. The best example of this might be the Flux Grenade. Take a look.
Okay.
All right, so I'll start with Flux. Increased base cooldown from 82 seconds to 182 seconds.
Wow.
Increased attached detonation damage from 150 to 250. It's a one-shot kill.
No.
Just like back in D1.
Dude, I don't know about that. Wait, they're saying that that's what they're changing?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
man,
dude, it's a
I
3-minute
don't know.
cooldown.
Yeah, but like, why are we ever going back to that? People hated that at the end of D1. Even with the ridiculously long cooldown
Well,
time.
let's see what else they have.
Oh man.
Increased
All right,
damage.
keep reading, yeah.
Increased damage versus PvE combatants by 15% on top
Okay.
of base damage increase. Removed projectile tracking.
Oh.
Added
Dude,
a
they're
small amount of aim assist.
Mhm.
Increased the throw speed by 117%. So that's like fastball, dude. That's
Okay, so
that's
wait a minute
yeeted.
though. They're
And
changing it to literally be a Halo sticky grenade.
it now sticks on all surfaces.
Oh, dude, I'm 100. Okay, never mind. I didn't read ahead on the changes. Yeah, thinking about a flux grenade to auto track to people like in D1, that sounds horrible. They're literally turning it into a plasma grenade from Halo, and I like that idea.
I'm for
Okay.
that life. As
Yeah,
you can see,
I panicked.
the flux
Go on.
grenade now has a very long cooldown, but it's a one-shot kill in the Crucible if you manage to land it. It also hits harder in PvE, and as a reminder, the flux grenade is currently only available on Hunter Arc Striders.
Mhm.
Now, here's an example of the opposite direction, the Firebolt grenade.
Okay.
Reduced base cooldown from 82 seconds to 64 seconds. Reduced damage per bolt from 90 to 65. Increased damage versus PvE combatants by 15%. So the Firebolt grenade has a low cooldown time, especially at tier 10 discipline, and it also has low damage output. These kinds of varied cooldowns and power output should make the game feel more dynamic and give more depth to build crafting. To make
Like it.
build crafting around cooldowns easier, you'll now be able to see the base cooldown time of your abilities when selecting them on the subclass screen. And they have a little picture here.
Oh, look at that.
On the character screen, you'll see the actual cooldown time of your abilities as they're affected by your equipped ability and armor stats. Base cooldown, minute 30 for Chain Lightning.
Mm.
On the character screen, okay, let's see, strength, 39 of 100, so 3 of 10, minute 30.
Yeah.
A couple things to note
Alright.
about the cooldown times and the user interface. The base cooldown time is actually the cooldown time at tier 3 of the relevant armor stat, strength, discipline. This is because the system technically penalizes you for tanking your stats below tier 3, in which case your cooldown would be longer than base. We're looking into updating this to be more intuitive in a future release. Cooldown times for class abilities are not currently displayed due to a technical issue. We plan to fix this in a future release.
Telesto is to blame.
All right, take over.
I will. We've been calling this the Variable Ability Cooldown System, VAC, and we think it's the beginning of a big change for the D2 sandbox. It's a foundational change in preparation to move the light subclasses over to the subclass 3.0 system that Stasis currently uses. For the 30th anniversary, we're using it to change the cooldown of nearly every ability in the game. Wow. One of our design goals this year was to reduce the amount of ability spam in PvP and focus back on gunplay. To this end, we've made ability cooldown times longer on average than they were before. GG. We don't want the PvE experience to suffer for the sake of PvP balance, though. Important. So we've tried to compensate where possible. For example, we've increased all grenade damage in PvE combatants versus PvE combatants by 15% or more. This should make grenades feel like bigger power moments than they do in today's game. Melee ability cooldowns have not been increased quite as much as grenade cooldowns, and some of the less aggro melee attacks have lower cooldowns than before. Class ability cooldowns have also generally increased, but the changes vary depending on which ability is equipped. Wow. Okay. We're excited to see
we
how
need
these
to,
changes... Oh, what's up?
we just need to keep going with this, man.
I agree.
I don't know how I feel.
I like so far what I'm hearing. I like the idea of putting the gameplay focus in PvP anyway on gunplay. Like all the fun stuff in D2, it's really fun and cool, but I want people to be rewarded more for gun skill, you know? All right, reading on. We're excited to see how these changes feel when they're in the live game. We will be monitoring and adjusting, yada, yada, yada. Okay, passing the mic to Mike. Heyo. Super cooldowns. Into the fray. Since Destiny's launch in 2014, super energy gain has been almost entirely passive. Your intellect stat dictates how quickly your super will regen, with a few other elements like orbs of power, armor, and weapon perks, and defeating targets as active sources. The system worked well for a long time, but has issues that have grown more obvious as the game has evolved in overall player skill. especially skill in evaluating how to play around their character build has increased. Example, in high-stakes game modes like Trials or Survival, where each life is precious, passive play becomes more common as players sit back and wait for their supers to close out a tied game. True. In general, we want the most efficient way to gain super energy to be actively engaging in combat. It doesn't mean you need to win every fight, but we want you to try. Dude, I like it. To get us closer to that goal, we're making a big change to the system. Super Regen will still have a passive component scaled by your intellect stat, but at a significantly reduced rate. On top of your passive regeneration, you will also gain super energy by dealing and taking damage to or from opponents. Here are a few key goals for the new system. In PvE, super uptime should be relatively unchanged from the live game, if not slightly higher. We're pretty happy with the frequency of supers in most PvE content and don't want to make a big change right now on that front. Fair. Everybody should get at least one super in a 6v6 match that goes to the scorer or time limit as long as they engage in regular combat. Expression of power through using your awesome space magic is a core part of what makes Destiny special, and we're not looking to change that. We think that the cadence of supers in 6v6 modes is slightly too high, but we don't expect a dramatic change in super uptime for most players in playlists like Control or Iron Banner as a result of those changes. Supers should be less frequent in 3v3 than in the live game, where 2 supers per match is a fairly regular occurrence. That is true.
Yeah,
These modes are... Yeah, go ahead.
That's a big thing. Think Trials, man. Like right now, currently, I'd say out of a 7-win card, only one game I'll get a super because it's going so quick. Like this is telling me that there's no way to get that super, man. Really. Unless you...
It depends on if we're doing regular trials or zone trials, first of all. But yeah.
Yeah.
These modes are about expression of player skill. We want that skill to be primarily about team coordination, positioning, intelligent use of your abilities, and first and foremost, gunplay. While there is absolutely skill in outmaneuvering active supers or playing around super uptime, supers in general are purposefully designed to be accessible power fantasies for all players, and that inherently creates asymmetry that we need to account for in more competitive play. See, this is a really good TWAB. Player weapon play should have a noticeable benefit in super energy regeneration. With the new system, we are scaling energy gains up and down granularly based on the source of the damage, both outgoing and incoming. Outgoing primary weapon damage has a significantly higher return of super energy per damage point than any other type of damage. Quick side note before I keep reading, CoolGuy, I wonder if that means they're going to change, what is the Thresh?
Yeah.
Or maybe it'll still... I don't know, maybe it'll be even more valuable.
Or maybe Thresh just became S tier. I mean,
maybe. Different supers should come online at different times in a given match, and your super of choice should have an impact on how quickly it regenerates, okay? To reiterate what we mentioned above, we have always lived in a world where nearly every super in the game shares the same cooldown, regardless of their efficacy in a given game mode. Now that we have made the foundational change to differentiate cooldowns per individual ability, we want to address the super o'clock issue in PvP, where 3 minutes into a match, 12 supers, this is so funny, are simultaneously popped and chaos ensues. Dude, that's so true. We want to open up build crafting space where your super's cooldown time is an important element in your decision making beyond how high you want your intellect stat to be. To that end, we've separated supers into cooldown tiers that affect both the passive regeneration rate as well as the damage-based regeneration rate. This tiering, primarily influenced by each super's kill potential, where most one-off supers are unlikely to wipe a team or a room of combatants, but a long-lasting roaming super can and should have a trade-off. Fair. We've also taken into account the general potency of the subclass kits where possible. For example, later on we will talk, oh boy, about Shatter Dive and changes we're making which impact how effective the Revenant Hunter is in the neutral game, causing us to shift some of that potency to the super's uptime as a result. It's also important to stress that this is the first iteration of this system where any given super will fall into the recharge rate tiers will change over time as we continue tuning. These are the super regeneration rate tiers that we are launching on December 7th. CoolGuy, take me through them.
Tier 5, the fastest regeneration, Well of Radiance. And that's not bad. Like, if you're telling me that you could pop a well down first and then a well's pretty tough, dude. A well's pretty tough to take out unless you have a sniper. And your teammates can get orbs. Did they talk about orbs giving you
Not,
super energy yet, or
I don't
at
think they've
all?
talked about that yet. No.
All right, tier 4, Blade Barrage, Silence and Squall. I mean, that's a
Okay.
pretty big super difference right there, dude. Blade Barrage and Silence and Squall. All right, tier 3.
Yeah, they need the quick regeneration because they're bad. I mean, compared to the other top tier roamers, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tier 3,
Okay.
Shadow Shot, Burning Maul, Arc Staff, Nova Bomb, Thunder Crash. Tier 2, Golden Gun, Chaos Reach, Nova Bomb, Storm Trance, Daybreak, Sentinel Shield. And Tier 1, the slowest, Spectra Blades, Fist of Havoc, Hammer of Soul, Glacial Quake, Winter's Wrath. So the heavy roamers.
I like it. Now, I think Daybreak should also be in tier 1, and that's coming from a Warlock main. Like, I play Top Tree Dawnblade a lot.
I play bottom.
Yeah, like, dude, Daybreak is really good. Like,
Daybreak's really good.
I'd put Daybreak on the same level as Glacial Quake, Winter's Wrath. I don't know. I would maybe switch those. I don't know.
I mean, it sounds here like the tier 2 and tier 1. Like tier 1, I think they are really, especially Fist of Havoc with its tree, and then Glacial Quake and Winter's Wrath. They're heavy roamers, but like Golden Gun, Nova Warp. It's almost tied to resilience as well, right? Because the Golden Gun, the Nova Warp, the Chaos Reach, they're a little bit easier to take out.
Yeah.
Whereas Spectral Blades has the DR. Fist of Havoc is just everywhere on your screen.
I think Golden Gun might need to be maybe a little higher. I don't know. Like a Golden Gun is so you can just wait them out. You know what I mean? You can literally just wait out a Golden Gun. It's very difficult.
Imagine
to wait
taking
out
7 minutes to get your Golden Gun, and they just stomp yeet away.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's interesting. That's our first pass. Keep going there.
Yep.
Cool guy. Yeah.
As Kevin and Eric mentioned, this sets us up for the future as we move towards Subclass 3.0. And as an example for the 30th anniversary, things like the Deadfall and Mobius Quiver variants of Shadow Shot will share the same cooldown tier, but the Void 3.0, launched in February, they could exist in different tiers based on their potency. By the same token, Ward of Dawn, which is currently tied to the Sentinel Shield's cooldown, will be moved to the tier 5 group as a standard, or as a standalone super with Void 3.0. So that's going to be up there with, support.
What? Oh, wow.
Support's going to be the fastest ones.
Sure.
Taking it down a notch, Mike, let's talk about non-super abilities for a moment. In the 5/27/2021 This Week at Bungie, Kevin shared our foundational pillars for the role we want abilities to play in the Crucible Combat Sandbox. As a quick refresher, this is where we want to be. Weapons are the primary way players engage within combat. Non-super abilities accentuate or augment the combat, but should rarely solve an encounter by themselves. Abilities have clear strengths, weaknesses, and counterplay. Build crafting is rewarding within the moment-to-moment combat loop of Destiny. We're not there yet. In general, ability uptime in the Crucible is too high for their current potency, and it's difficult to understand when an opponent will regain an ability after using it. Some of that uptime comes from passive cooldowns, but many other outliers also come from elements of the build crafting system that have previously been unified in ability energy returns between PvE and PvP. With the 30th anniversary, we've taken a pass at a significant number of these elements across subclass perks, armor mods, exotic armor pieces. We have tuned PvP energy regeneration separately from their base PvE values, which we are not changing.
Good call.
Good call.
Definitely a good call.
I'll read down to the subclass and super perks.
Sounds good, dude. And then I'll take over. Yep.
For our pillars, we want build crafting to be rewarding. And in its current state, the combinational nature of these perks and items lead to an unsustainable ability energy economy that diminishes weapon play from PvP. For this tuning pass, we focus primarily on items that feed into self-perpetuating loops of ability energy gains. Here's a brief list of the effective items. Subclass neutral game perks. These perks have had their ability energy regeneration reduced by roughly 50% in PvP. We targeted perks that could either activate out of combat with a single button press, or those that were returning amounts of ability energy that were significantly out of band. Whisper of Shards, Arc Web, Rising Storm, Ionic Traces, Electrostatic Surge, Aftershocks, Inertia Override, Benevolent Dawn, Practice Makes Perfect, Dark Matter.
Now, wait a minute. They said they're reducing, so they're making it quicker.
Yeah.
They're making these. Wait, they're quicker or longer? They said reduced. Do they mean shortened or lengthened?
these perks have had their ability energy regeneration reduced by roughly 50%.
I think that means they're making it longer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We
wish
we
they would say shorter or longer.
we
Like, I think that would be more clear. But yeah, okay.
We
But
targeted
carry
perks
on.
that could either activate out of combat with a single button press, or those that were returning amounts of ability energy that were significantly out of band. So practice makes perfect, right? Getting more super energy for landing headshots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nerf. Yeah, all these are nerfs.
Yeah. Chat is agreeing that it seems to be phrased in a way that all these are going to be longer. Especially, I can't imagine them deciding to make arc web quicker.
You know, almost
Yeah.
double time. Yeah, okay.
I can't imagine that. Okay.
All right, your turn.
Yeah, my turn. All right. Subclass in super perks. These perks scale down energy returns as you get kills in your super, i.e., the first kill while in super returns more super energy than the third kill. Okay. These perks often result in supers being able to roam the map for much longer than is healthy for the game. That's fair. And mean that a victim can frequently die to an active super, respawn on the other side of the map, and be killed by that same super. I hate it when that happens to me. We've rescaled this energy refund decay more aggressively in PvP so that the minimum energy refund is reached roughly twice as quickly. No change has been made to the refund decay against PvE. Fair. Everlasting Fire, Dawnblade Warlock, Trample. Oh, thank God, dude. Trample. I just think bottom tier
Hey, what do you
bottom
mean?
tree Striker Titan mains are probably going to be mad about that, but like Trample's really good.
What do you mean, dude? It's fine. Just adapt.
Just adapt, bro. Exotic armor. Oh boy. Each exotic below had a custom tuning pass focused on their ability energy return in PvE. Frosties no longer stacks multiplicatively in PvP with other regeneration buffs, is now an additive scaler. No change in PvE. Heart of Inmost Light, ability energy regeneration scalers reduced by 50% in PvP. Reworked, so activating multiple abilities will now reliably result in multiple empowered stacks. The stacking behavior was previously a bug. This seemed like a good opportunity to promote it to a feature. How very Todd. What's that guy's name? Todd. Oh my God, I can't remember his fucking last name. I just call him Todd. The guy from Bethesda.
Todd Howard?
Yeah, Todd Howard. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Controverse hold. Duration of the grenade regeneration buff is no longer random between 1 and 4 seconds and is now a fixed duration of 1.7 seconds. Ooh. Ooh. Reduced grenade energy regeneration scaler by 50% in PvP. The previous average duration due to waiting was 1.71, with a 1 second duration being the most common. Woof. So this should improve the exotic's consistency across the game with a lower return in PvP. GG. Doomfang Pauldrons. Reduced super energy gain on activation when an opposing player is killed by a void melee by 50%. Shinobu's Vow. Reduced grenade energy gain on hits versus players by 66%.
That's a
no
big
change in
nerf.
PvE. Big nerf, yeah. Wow. 66%. Sheesh. Crown of Tempest, grenade, melee, and super energy regeneration, scalar buff, duration reduced from 7 seconds to 4 in PvP. No change in PvE. The Stag, reduced class ability energy refund on shield break by 50% in PvP. No change in PvE. These are a lot of important changes.
So the Stag one's huge because right now it's about 70 or 80%, dude. Really,
strong.
It's really strong.
Very strong. Armor mods. In general, we've reduced energy returns from these mods by roughly 50% in PvP, depending on the number of copies of the mod you have slotted. Melee kickstart, grenade kickstart, utility kickstart. All these you should have seen coming a mile away, by the way, chat. Like I was telling them before you joined stream, CoolGuy. Like if you wanted to, right now in the meta, pre-December update, if you wanted to, if you were a Revenant Hunter, you could go Tier 10 Discipline, you could go Frosties, you could go Grenade Kickstart, you could go Perpetuation, and like the amount...
And Utility Kickstart.
Huh?
And Utility Kickstart.
Utility Kickstart. What is it? Whisper of... Was it Fractures? The one where you break the grenade and your grenade kicks in quicker. Like, dude, if you wanted to, you spec out your Hunter in a way, and it's just comically quick how fast you get your Glacier Grenade back. Yeah, all these contribute. They're big contributing factors. Grenade kickstart, utility kickstart, perpetuation, bolstering detonation, focusing strike, bomber. Of course, I use bomber all the time. Outreach,
Me too.
dynamo, distribution, momentum transfer, impact induction. This is a big foundational shift for us, and we expect to do a lot of tuning as time goes on. So as always, we will be on the lookout for how things are feeling across the game and will adjust accordingly. Now I'll throw it back over to Eric for some spicy details on more ability tuning changes you can expect with the 30th anniversary. CoolGuy, take it away.
So real quick with these being reduced roughly by 50% in the Crucible. Currently, it's about, I think, it's about 10% for each one. So like utility kickstart, when you dodge, you get like 20% back. So it sounds like if you double up on mods, it's only going to be like 10%.
Yeah, probably.
So
yeah, those are really good.
It's still going to be good when you double up on them, especially if a cooldown's going to be 3 minutes. All right.
Yeah, for sure. Carry on.
Dang, this is long. Eric, in case you haven't caught on yet, the list of ability changes we're making for the 30th anniversary is massive. We've touched nearly every ability in the game in some small way. We won't go over the full patch notes because it's mind-numbingly long, but let's take a look at some of the most the most provocative balance changes. Stasis crystals.
Here we go.
They do a lot. On top of freezing players when they were created, they also block line of sight, block movement. They act as explosive barrels. They rage CoolGuy. It's all a bit too much for the Crucible. With this release, the stasis crystals will now slow players instead of freezing them, and they'll do much less damage to players when they detonate.
Ooh, big change. Is that the play? Oh, there's more notes down low. Keep reading. I want to.
As far as PvE is concerned, stasis crystals will still freeze combatants, and we've increased stasis crystal detonation damage versus PvE combatants. Looking at the numbers, it was almost always better to shoot directly at a combatant instead of a crystal near a combatant. This change should help crystals better live out their explosive barrel dreams. So for the stasis crystals, while forming, the stasis crystals now slow nearby players instead of freezing them. They still freeze the PvE combatants while forming. And they're doing a really good job of separation here, because I think the community needed to hear that. Sure. Increase the slow freeze radius while forming from 1.75 meters to 2.6.
Get wrecked.
Reduce crystal detonation damage versus players by 55%.
Get wrecked.
Increased crystal detonation damage versus PvE combatants by 60%. And increased crystal detonation radius from 6 to 8 meters. They made it a little bit bigger, and it can slow. It makes me wonder what you could do with like the slow stacks with bombardiers.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that's a triple slow. It'd be the grenade, it would be your dodge, it would be the bomb, and then you have 2 shurikens. It'd be 5. So I would assume you could freeze them.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of how much damage you do per each crystal. I think I'm trying to remember in my head.
I thought it was 40 per hit. No?
I can't remember. With the fracture whisper turned on, like the max power that you can do.
Ooh, okay, dude. The next one's so big. I'm sorry, I read forward.
Okay, well, damn it. I'm just trying to think if it'll still be able to one-hit tap in PvP.
In theory, it shouldn't. It definitely shouldn't do supers anymore.
No, supers are off the table for sure.
Because you can't shatter them. You know what I'm saying?
And also on top of that, like the changes to grenade kickstart, the grenade cooldown times changing, all that wrapped up together, that's a really, really big blow to Shatter Dive.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, there's much more to read. So,
the Shatter Dive works because they're frozen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's definitely part of it. It's definitely part of it. It's
Hunter.
Good. Yeah.
The dodge. In order to meet our goal of less ability spam with the Crucible, we're reducing how often hunters can dodge. Gambler's dodge is getting hit the hardest here because it can completely circumvent melee ability cooldown times. You know what's funny? I tweeted about that like a month ago, and I got absolutely railed by people.
Oh, dude, I remember that.
Dude,
I was talking today on stream about how I was like, dude, why does the hunter dodge is the best ability in the game? Why do they get the best cooldown time?
Yeah, just imagine not being able to yeet out of a gunfight when you're getting outshot. Just imagine for a second.
Oh my god.
It also completely changes the hunter silhouette in the Crucible, making it very powerful. In addition, the hunter dodges no longer break projectile tracking, meaning it's less of a get out of a jail free card when a tracking rocket or other slow moving projectile is firing towards you. So for the hunter dodge, it no longer breaks projectile tracking. Marksman dodge. Tier 10 mobility Cooldown increased from 11 to 14 seconds. Well, that isn't too bad.
That's not too bad. That's
The
what,
base
3
cooldown
seconds?
unchanged to 29 seconds.
Oh,
Because
dude,
here's the deal.
They're fine.
They're fine.
They're fine.
The Gambler's Dodge Tier 10 mobility cooldown increased from 11 to 18 seconds.
That's a little bit more.
That's
yeah.
a little bit more. The base cooldown duration from 29 to 38 seconds. So, I mean, the Hunters, I mean, they're forcing your hand with the abilities. Like, Hunters are mobility. Warlocks are recovery. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, let me tell you, cool guy, this could be... There should be no Hunter tiers in the Twitch chat right now. Dude, this could be so much worse. I want to remind them that no longer breaks projectile tracking. Keyword projectile. So, like, you won't be able to dodge out of, what, like a Jotun shot?
Mm-hmm.
They've mentioned nothing here about the Hunter dodge being able to break aim assist, which is like, would you agree with me in saying that that's by far the most powerful part of the dodge? Or like, depending on your input method, you know what I mean? M&K players don't really give a fuck that much, but for controller people, being able to break aim assist,
Let's I don't know.
They're keeping that. So
well, since like, because everything's just rank and filed in like a nice folder there at Bungie. So I mean, because they're separating things. If they probably could, they can go right in there and take it off.
Yeah, you still get to break aim.
Put it on.
Controller friction. You still get to break reticle friction, and only a 3-second on the marksman dodge. Dude, you could do so much worse to Hunters. You could do so much worse. Okay, so that should be okay. Keep reading.
Revenant. You guessed it, the stasis crystal changes detailed earlier mean that the Hunter Revenant Shatter Dive will almost never
almost
kill a full health Guardian.
Good
Shatter Dive
call.
may still kill if the Hunter is using Whisper of Fissures, Touch of Winter, and the target is in the very clear center of 6 crystals, but that has been incredibly rare in our playtesting. I think we can all agree that Shatter Dive was too powerful.
No.
Yeah, well, just adapt. I mean, I know about, 7,000 people on Reddit that think that you're just bad.
I'm dying. You're just bad, bro.
We tried a number of fixes over the past few releases, but the truth is that as long as Stasis Crystals froze players and Shatter Dive shattered players, it was going to be too good. But it's not all rain clouds and puddles for the Shatter Dive Hunters. The increase of Stasis Crystal damage versus PvE combatants makes Shatter Dive a great choice in PvE. And on top of that, we're increasing Shatter Dive damage versus frozen combatants by 100%, so 2 times. We're having fun melting frozen monsters.
Golf clap, bro. Golf clap in the chat right now, boys.
Shatter Dive, much less lethal versus players due to stasis crystal changes. Much more lethal versus combatants due to the stasis crystal changes, and increase the shatter damage versus the PvE combatants by 100%. Grim Harvest, increased fragment slots from 2 to 3. Oh, so they give you more.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Can I talk about Top Tree Night Stalker?
Oh, you gotta come on, keep talking.
This change to the combination blow melee was made possible by our variable ability cooldown system. Previously, Top Tree Arcstrider were basically required to use Gambler's Dodge with the tree, and we hope this change will make this ability viable even if you're using Marksman Dodge. Combination blow reduces base damage duration from 96 seconds to 15 seconds. Let's go.
Oh my god, dude, Drewski just came in his pants.
Dude, I love it too. I love it too, man. That's dude, good.
Drew is freaking out. How much fucking money did Drew put into Giannis's pocket for that change, bro?
That's a good one.
Oh
Bottom Tree Night Stalker. Vanish and Smoke Melee has low damage output but high utility. Our data shows that the subclass tree is struggling in the Crucible, so we've decided to increase how often Pathfinder hunters can go invisible. Vanish and Smoke. Reduce base cooldown from 96 seconds to 75. So that's still good, especially when you have on an Omni Oculus, or in that tree itself, you get grenade damage. It's going to get pretty fast. And then, of course, the Graviton.
Sure.
Titan, you got it.
I'll take it away here. I'm not a Titan main, but I think Warlocks are next, right? So I'll take the next, yeah. In our effort to put the emphasis back on gunplay and PvP, we've decided to reduce the number of abilities that can one-shot a full health Guardian. I think I like that. As such, the Titan's 3 shoulder charges are no... Ooh, Anno, you're about to get mad.
You're just standing there.
No longer one-shot abilities in PvP. To balance this out, we've made the shoulder charge quicker to activate, easier to hit with, and travel farther. Okay, I might actually be okay with that if it's still lethal and fun. We've also increased their damage in PvE. In our experience, they're still powerful in PvP in combination with short-range weapons and when used as a movement tool. Okay, this might be a fair trade-off. We wanted to curb shoulder charge's potency now that we've toned down shotguns as their current catcher. When did they tone down shotguns? We'll be monitoring the data and feedback and adjusting accordingly. All shoulder charges, no longer one-shots players. Sprint activation time reduced from 1.5 to 1.25. Increased range from 5.5 to, wow, 6.8.
That's a long yeet,
pretty
dude.
far, dude. That's
Yeah,
pretty far.
that's deep.
Targeting cone width increased by 10%. Put 1/4 in the cone jar, by the way. Increased damage versus PvE combatants by 25%. Oh, here we go. We got the arc shoulder charge here. Reduced AoE damage from 90 to 40. Now blinds enemies. Oh, wow. Blinds enemies in the area on the hit. Okay, that actually sounds quite fun. Increased base cooldown from 82 to 90. We got the void shoulder charge here. Reduced AoE damage from 90 to 40. Increased base cooldown from 82 to 90, or increased base cooldown. Hammer strike, shoulder charge. Reduced direct impact damage from 170 to 120. Increased base cooldown from 82 to 90. I'm kind of interested in that.
Two words for you. Peregrine Greaves.
Peregrine Greaves. Barricade. Even with the rally barricade changes we made in Season of the Lost, using this ability during a firefight is still a risky proposition. We've spaced out the cooldowns of the 2 barricades. Ah, interesting. Okay. To make the choice more interesting. Tower barricade, increasing the cooldown from 37 to 40. Rally barricade, reduced base cooldown from 37 to 32. I still think that's a very...
That kind of sucks,
people
dude.
Are gonna go towering, right?
No. That sucks so bad because, again, we talked about earlier, like, the Titans have to go into resilience because of the barricade. And you're nerfing the barricade.
That's unfortunate. Behemoth. We agree with the general community feedback that the Behemoth could use love in PvE. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, they probably could. We're hoping these changes to Diamond Lance make this aspect a top-tier PvE pick. Shiver Strike is getting a big damage buff during the Glacial Quake Super. The Whisper of Change fragment buff here is also very spicy and should help the Behemoth's survivability in Pinnacle PvE activities. Whisper of Chains can be used by all Stasis subclass, but making crystals is kind of the Behemoth thing, so we're listing it here. Okay, Diamond Lance. Increased fragment slots from 1 to 3. Now spawns a Diamond Lance upon killing a PvE combatant with a stasis weapon. With a stasis weapon?
Was a stasis weapon?
Yeah, wow. Killing 3 players with stasis weapons in a single life. Killing an enemy with a stasis ability. Shattering an enemy. I kind of forgot about Diamond Lance, to be honest. Shiver Strike. Increased Shiver Strike damage while in Glacial Quake by 50%. Whisper of Chains, increased damage resistance versus PvE enemies from 25 to 40%. That actually sounds kind of fun. That does seem like good Titan love right there. Bottom Tree Striker. This class is absolutely dominating PvP, so we're turning it down a notch. These changes were made to Fists of Havoc in Season of the Lost. The changes we made to Fists of Havoc in Season of the Lost helped Top Tree as intended, but they also turned Bottom Tree into a monster. On top of that, the stasis nerfs and other changes we've made over the past few releases created a power vacuum that Striker Bot filled with extreme prejudice. We hope these changes put Striker Bot back into the pack instead of towering high above everything else. Yeah, Bottom Tree Striker is very good in PvP right now. It's super strong. Knockout. Melee lunge range and melee damage bonus now deactivate after a melee kill.
No.
Did you say something?
No.
No.
Knockout's so good, man.
Knockout's cracked. I know a lot
It's
of people.
Dune's fault. It's not Knockout's fault. It's Dune's fault.
Dune, how dare you? Trample. Super energy gain from Fist of Havoc. Light attack now decays to minimum amount over 3 PvP kills, down from WoW 7.
Good.
Frontal Assault Melee. Yeah, it's a good change. Increased base cooldown from 82 to 106.
Brutal.
Fist of Havoc. Heavy Slam radius reduced. Oh, thank the Lord. You're so far away.
Well, they just buffed it, right?
They just buffed it.
They just buffed it.
Taking it back. It's so strong. Like, the range is, you could be so far and they'll get you, but they're changing it to Bottom Tree only, which I think is fair. That'll at least make Top Tree more of like a I gotta think about it pick, you know?
Yeah,
that's for sure. you want to? I'm a warlock.
Oh,
Man.
you got warlock. Do it, baby.
Oh, I was gonna sit back and hear you tell me the change.
Okay, yeah, we got it.
Yeah, do it.
Uncharged melee. Warlocks have been losing slap fights for too long. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like having the longest melee in the game, but it never connecting. But whatever.
Oh, God.
Until now, Warlocks haven't been able to melee back to back as quickly as Titans and Hunters. No more. With the 30th anniversary, Warlocks will be able to melee just as quickly as Titan and Hunters. We're also removing the 1 meter range extension Warlocks receive to compensate. We still think the idea of each class having unique qualities to their melee is interesting, but we want to do it in a way that won't cause one class ability to consistently lose slap fights. Maybe someday in the future.
Yeah, let's fucking go, dude. I'm so tired of the Warlock is the melee class. Like, really? Because I get slapped.
Are you sure about that?
I get backhanded. All right, keep going.
Uncharged melee. Reduced melee range from 5.5 to 4.5 now matches Hunter and Titan. Reduced suppression time after melee. Now can melee back to back at the same speed as Hunter and Titan. So the Ophidians would bring it back to the 5.5, correct? In theory?
Probably. Oh, dude. I'm an Ophidian main.
Well, dude, I mean, that's the play then, dude. Because with what they're doing to abilities, I don't know. We're gonna get through this, but I've always had a problem with neutral game exotics, and they're skyrocketing as I go through this. Dude.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Military Voidwalker. In our effort to do away with one-shot abilities that are frustrating to be hit by, Handheld Supernova is also getting the shoulder charge treatment. That's right. Good. Handheld Supernova will no longer one-shot in the Crucible. To compensate, it now travels farther and pushes enemies back. We've also increased the damage of Handheld Supernova and Nova Warp versus champion and boss combatants. We had increased their damage in Season of the Lost, but it felt like they could use even more juice. So the Handheld Supernova, reduced damage versus players, now deals 150 max. Increased damage versus champions and bosses by 30%. Increased projectile range from 12 meters to 14 meters. That's a long Handheld Supernova.
Yeah, that's long, dude.
Now pushes targets away from the Warlock on detonation. That's actually pretty sick, dude. I'm okay.
That's fair.
That's sick.
I think that's fair. Like,
if you're getting rushed, you could throw that grenade.
Yeah.
Deal the 150 or 100, right? But you're yeeting them back. It's actually, I like this change. That's
if you pair that together with, I don't know, any primary, like, dude, how about Shira, kill clip? Shotgun aping you. You're like, yo, get out of my face. You destroy them from further away and push them further back. And I just finish them with Shira, free kill clip, bro.
Yeah, that's really, that's actually pretty sweet.
I think that's pretty fair. Okay, keep going.
The Nova Warp damage has been increased versus champions and bosses by 30%. Shadebinder. We feel that Shadebinder is in a pretty good place for with a couple of exceptions. One, Winter's Wraith is still the best super for shutting down other supers, and it's not even close. Winter's Wrath lets now freeze and shatter other supers twice to kill them, and as a general rule, roaming supers should be able to one-shot other supers. 2, the Prenumbral Blast melee is too difficult to land against PvE combatants. We made the ability harder to land in PvP. It had a negative effect on our PvE experience. So we've increased the proximity detonation radius against PvE combatants to make it easier to land.
Oh, good.
All 3 stasis grenades now have different cooldown times. So we made a big change to Bleak Watcher to avoid a situation where it was always best to use this grenade with the shortest cooldown time. This results in an overall cooldown increase for Bleak Watcher, which fits its incredibly high power output. Winter's Wrath, reduced shatter pulse damage versus enemy supers, must now generally freeze and shatter all supers twice to eliminate. Prenumbral Blast, increased proximity detonation radius versus PvE combatants by 100%. Bleak Watcher, while Bleak Watcher is equipped, all stasis grenades charge at Glacier Grenade rate.
Okay, I think that's fair. I think that's a fair change.
You know, a lot of this stuff, man, it's really tough to get a grip.
Yeah.
Because they don't give the actual number. And what I was really interested in, and maybe it's still to come, because they said that's all for now, folks. So I would assume that we're closing it down. I really thought that we were gonna get something on recovery, mobility, resilience.
Yeah. I thought that, and remember, by the way, people in my chat are like, some people are like, yo, Dune Marchers though, like no change. They mentioned this is not everything.
Yeah, this is the upcoming patch, the 30th anniversary patch.
Yeah, this is the appetizer.
Which by the way, they can separate PvE and PvP.
Yep.
We've seen it. Let's go ahead and. How about you take us home?
I'll take it home here. That's all for now, folks. Okay, I think we've covered the big stuff. There's a bunch of other small changes coming in the 30th anniversary, but we will cover everything else in the official patch notes. As you can see, the team has been hard at work adjusting the sandbox globally. Yeah, they really have. We hope the picture we're painting here reinforces the statements we've made in the past. The sandbox is going to evolve alongside the game. Fair. As we hit year 5 and beyond, the statement will become even more true with new and exciting changes coming with the Subclass 3.0 experience. Stay tuned for the patch notes when the 30th anniversary goes live on December 7th. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff here for the... If you want to learn about all this stuff here, yeah, keep reading it. All the juicy stuff is over. I'm quick scrolling here at CoolGuy. If people have known issues, you know how to submit a known issue. We got the movie of the week stuff. Beautiful. Watch that on your own. Artist of the week. Hot. I like it. Sexy. I like it. Tight. Okay, did you make it to the end? Long TWAB is long. Takes a lot of work on the part of numerous teams to get a TWAB out the door. Our friends on the Sandbox team wrote the bulk of this update, and we can't thank them enough for their efforts, not only in developing the game, taking time to run through goals and keeping people informed. Between the dev team, VizD team, localization team, editorial team, player support team, the Dream team, Bungie.net team, Bungie Foundation team, countless other teams and individuals who have helped us ship TWABs in the past, it's still crazy to me that we ship these nearly every single week of the given year. They're not all mega TWABs like today. No, they are not. They still all take a bit of work to get out the door as we continue to serve the community and provide transparency into our studio. While I know I'm a week early for Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for every single one of them. Much love. See you next week for a short and sweet TWAB. Until December 7th, I'll be dreaming of these sandbox changes. All I can think about is jumping on an Arc Hunter, yeah, for real, and equipping a Flux Grenade. Bet you can't stick it. Yep. Cheers from Dylan. That was a very interesting TWAB overall. There's a lot to take in. I'm trying to put together a TLDR 30,000 foot view, CoolGuy. I would put it more into, if I had to TLDR the TWAB, I would say more focus on gunplay, less focus on ability abuse in PvP, because they're separating that between PvP and PvE. And I also think more fine-tuning on timers. The more cracked stuff is going to have a longer timer. The less cracked stuff by design is going to have a shorter timer, which I think is fair, because you can't have everything in the game be absolutely cracked if, like, you know, every ability being to the level of, I don't know, Shadow Dive, and you wouldn't want that. There's going to be options all over the table. I think it's fair to make the strong stuff take longer.
Yeah, they're adjusting on lethality.
Yeah,
and they made very conscious choices, like that Flux Grenade, to make it extremely lethal but have a penalty.
Now is the time to work on your gun skill. And I have never seen my Twitch chat be this polarized on anything. Half of them are like, let's fucking go. I want more weapon skill. And half the people are like, no, my favorite ability got touched. This is fucked. Like, a lot of people are really going back and forth on this TWAB.
I tell you what, there's someone at my door. So talk with your chat real quick. I'll be back.
Yeah, you go.
And then yeah, because there's still a lot to talk about here, man.
Yeah, we'll chat later.
BRB, BB.
You BRB. I don't know. You think overall it was good? I think it was good overall. I'm hyped for the gunplay changes, meaning, like, you know, more focus on weapon play, less focus on
I'm back, ability. Bucko.
I did a little outro for my YouTube video, so I'm good. You can say whatever you like, buddy.
Sure. So some of this I don't know about, dude. While I
Which ones
do
you not know about?
Well, I mean, we just don't know until we know, right? Like, they say, oh, well,
right,
these grenades, but like, what's solar grenade going to be? What's this? What's that? What's the heavy throwing knife, dude? It kills a lot of classes. Mm-hmm. Or it has the opportunity to kill a lot of classes. Like Athrus's, I think it's a great one. They're nerfing the dodge to get that melee back.
You know, I have to give, I don't mean to cut you off, but Sergey in the chat brings up a great point. Great point.
Okay.
When I first heard about the slide changes, I was like, no. You know what I mean? And everybody freaked out about the slide change. Remember when they were going to reduce all that stuff, you know? And yeah, it's like it's still there for sure, but I barely notice it, right? I
Right.
don't notice the slide change as much, and the community laid a fucking egg, myself included, over the fucking slide change.
Yeah, also the M&K recoil. Remember
Yeah.
everybody flipping out about
Everybody
that?
flipped out about the M&K recoil. Yeah, I think the concept of what they're trying to achieve is good. I think they're being fully open. They're like, look, there's a lot of crazy shit in D2. We like it. Space magic, man. It's part of what makes the game the game. But if the abilities are coming back too quick, then it might be a problem. We might have to tweak it a little bit. But I think that, like, yeah, I reacted more to the slide change than I did to a lot of these changes. I think we're going to be okay. Dodge did not need nerfed again. It's not that bad. You still break aim assist on controller, and it's only a 3-second improvement on 3-second nerf on marksman.
I mean, and most hunters are running at least 8 mobility.
Dude, yeah, base cooldown unchanged. Every PvP hunter main I know, if they go into trials, every hunter main I know going into endgame PvP,
8 to 100.
100 mobility.
Yeah.
Anywhere minimum 8, maximum 10. They're leaving the base cooldown unchanged.
In the grand scheme, it's not going to make a difference. I mean, because there's so much passive. Like, think 66 Midtown, dude. They could dodge an engagement, and by the time they're ready for the next, they're going to be able to dodge again.
Yeah.
That is going to hurt Backrus. It's going to hurt Backrus a ton.
It's going to hurt. Yeah, it's going to hurt Backrus.
That entire kit got flipped upside down. But dude, this is going to be an entirely different game than we've ever played. Like, yeah, this is
going to feel very.
This is a very different game that we're getting ready to get into. I do worry about some things, and while yes, I'm excited about the more focus for weapon play, and a lot of people are going to struggle, dude. It's so funny to me when they turn the sliders up, dude. These guys that are playing on 20 sensitivity on controller, and they cannot land a shot to save their life, but they could get up in my face and give it to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, their shotgun beat down and all their quote unquote movement skill gap, but they can't land a shot. So those players are going to struggle.
Yeah.
I am worried about a couple things.
Okay, go on.
Some abilities are really good for a push, right? And yes, it might be more weapon focused, but I don't know if we remember the Mida, the Jade, which it's good. We're in a sandbox engagement space where they're really well defined. Like, if you go against like a rapid fire frame pulse rifle, like Dark as Before, with even a palindrome past 35 meters, they have the upper hand there. A lot of those weapons, especially like high impact pulses, like a messenger, those are going to clean up lobbies, I think.
Yeah, they might. They really might.
They're going to clean up lobbies. And then, you know, if like Jade Rabbit, like those 150 scouts, there's nothing that can touch them, dude. Seriously. Only a sniper or another scout. I see a lot of that coming too if you can't push with your grenades. Or
I'm sorry, keep going.
Yeah, and that's another thing actually I want to get into. Demolitionist and Wellspring just like skyrocket into the S tier.
I was gonna say, yeah, if you want to build crafting is gonna be more like, if you really want to take advantage of a particular ability, you're gonna have to spec into it hard. Like Wellspring, what's the other one?
It's Demo. Demolitionist currently gives 10% of your.
You know what I just thought of? You know what is about to tank in viability? Surplus.
Oh man.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh no. My favorite shotgun. My
that kind of
Where is it?
That kind of sucks, dude.
Oh, not so many shots, dude. Surplus is gonna get so bad.
Yeah.
On a shotgun. Oh, because your grade's gonna be constantly charged.
Well, dude, double subclasses, it's still gonna be good.
Double like hunter, with a double shuriken.
Yeah. And in some exotics, like I don't know, like think of like armamentarium. Like,
Yeah.
is it more viable to have a second grenade and have those 2 long cooldowns? Or is it more viable to continue running anti-air wards or dunes? Like, that's what I don't like. Currently, the most used exotics in the game are mobility-based, neutral game-based.
Yep.
Those are, even, like, we could go to Knucklehead Radar, dude. We could go to Foe Tracer. But, you know, Stompies, anything that's a neutral. Ophidion's just got a ton better. My lord. Ophidion's
I'm happy as a Warlock Ophidian player.
Yeah, you know, if surplus is going down, and they've already nerfed Quick Draw, they've already nerfed like Ophidion's is it's up there now.
It's very
like
up there.
Even way more than the steps now.
Yep.
But like that was my fear with that, because I've always thought, and I talked about it in a video, there are outlier abilities. The solar grenade is not the same as a glacier grenade. Like, the solar grenade did nothing wrong. It's a zoning grenade. It
did nothing wrong.
It did nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, you know, they want to stop ability spam, but there are outliers with that ability spam, like Shinobu skips, glacier grenades with the full kit of stasis. Like, they nerfed all that, but it translates to some of the, like, weaker grenades. I wouldn't say weaker, but less. Yeah, well, they are. Yeah, less used. You know, they're getting hit just as hard.
Let me tell you what you just mentioned. I want to lean into that a little further. So a lot of people out there are probably, like, I think it's a good idea that they have tuned the ability cooldowns, because I want a more weapon focused sandbox. I want that, but a potential side effect see happening very quickly. You just mentioned it for the Ophidian. So a lot of hunter players out there, you know, their ability cooldowns are getting hurt. Maybe they're gonna think, hey, why would I lean into ability cooldown abuse if they're already gonna hurt it so badly? Maybe I should lean into something else. What's something you can lean? What's a hunter exotic that you can lean into for free with no penalty? That's
Stompy, Dragon Shadow, Foe Tracer,
Dragon Shadow. Yeah, that's those are already shelf hunter exotics, and I think they're gonna be more sexy now.
That was my fear. Like, that I made an exact video about this. Like, that was my fear, that they were gonna nuke these, nerf them, and those are just gonna get a higher pick rate.
Yeah, I'm thinking something similar.
But, like, in return, it does. So I want to say this. These guys, like, play the game more than I do. Like, every time I'm on, they're playing the game. And you have to think, they're working on the game for 8 to 10, 12 hours a day, and then they're playing it at night. And I know that you've seen it too. Like, they know what they're doing. Like, they play against it too. And obviously, they've talked about this, and this is the route that they want to go. It's like, I trust them. Like, I'm totally cool with it. I'm all in.
Yeah.
But since they said it multiple times that they're able to nitpick and fine-tune and change, I do hope that some of those other things that we've talked about get looked at as well.
Dude, PvP god, everybody knows him, Shmurda Benny, retweeting my surplus tweet, agreeing with it, but also being like, bow down to the one true king. Shows a picture of the Ophidians. It's like, dude, the Ophidians are gonna be so
the Ophidians. Right and like, dude, and that's the only part that I hate about this, man, because coming in today, I was like, man, I hope I don't even have to talk about this. I hope that it's alleviated somehow. But I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing that the neutral exotics are going to get more play, but like again, it's almost forcing you into it, because the current constraints of the Crucible, you want high class ability, so that's resilience, mobility, and recovery for your class, so you can actually use your class ability, because if not, you're an NPC just running around. High into recovery, always, no matter who you are, and then a little bit of a modest intellect stat. Now, if you're telling me that certain supers, you're only going to get one time, you can honestly just get away from that stat. Like, I'll just take my one and call it good. Not to mention Thresh. Like, dude, Thresh and Demolitionist, like, I really wonder if they changed that perk for the Crucible, because 10% grenade energy on a 3-minute cooldown goes a long way. You know what I'm saying?
What are you talking about? Not you. Yeah, I'm listening to you and also trying to alleviate
But let's
some
talk about it.
pain points in the chat.
What was said. Let's talk about it.
The guy said, so we're back to D2 year 1 feels bad. Not even close, bro.
No.
D2 year 1 was double primary weapons, and it was double primary weapons with horrible weapon time to kill. The weapon time to kill in D2 year 1 was really bad. That's why people were quad stacking Mida multi-tool in one lane, which is why it took forever to get kills. But the time to kill on weapons right now is, in my opinion, I think it's great. Yeah, this is not turning into D2 year 1. I don't know what. I
No,
don't see that
no, not at all. Not
I
at
don't
all.
see that comparison being correct.
That's a completely different game, dude.
Yeah, totally.
I'm getting ready to bring up the exotic list. Some of these that are just super fun to use.
Yeah.
Such as, dude, even the skull, the insurmountable, it got kind of nerfed too. If you can't one shot with it, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That just means you have to use frontal assault to reset that melee. Know what I mean? Honestly, I think the bottom tree insurmountable is going to be a top pick. Again, whenever I play Titan, bottom tree Titan, I've played that for the past year. I put on an insurmountable and just melee everything.
Yeah.
Do we think that anything is coming to those changes? Well, they've hinted at it, but that sounds like it's not going to be for this December patch. I'm talking about dunes and anything else they've touched.
I'm not sure when they're touching those, but they have hinted. I mean, they've mentioned before.
All right, so Knucklehead, Nighthawk, Foe Tracer, Assassin's Cowl, Wormhusk just got a ton better. Graviton just got a ton better.
Yeah, a ton better for the neutral game and all.
Hey, dude, straight up, that cooldown with Graviton with the new dodge is gonna line up. It's unchanged.
Yeah,
Young Ahamkara Spine. So remember with the spine, right? So increases the duration, but ability damage grants the trip mine grenade energy.
Yeah.
So they have it, apparently every single grenade has their own cooldown. So that's what gets me thinking. What did they do to the trip mine? What's it gonna be? Is it gonna be a lot longer? Is it gonna be a lot less?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The sealed Ahamkara grasps. I wish they would do something with those. But to me, I'm looking at Shards of Galanor here, dude. As bad as that super is, if it has a fast cooldown, I'm honestly looking into one and done supers. If somebody's only getting one super a match, I'm running Nova Bomb.
Dude, I'm on board.
The issue with Nova Bomb and some of these supers like Blade Barrage is that they are just less potent with kill potential, but with all these roaming supers, they made them longer and they made them not extend as much. Whereas if I'm getting a Blade Barrage almost 2 to their 1, especially with Shards of Galanor, I'm using Shards, I'm running Blade Barrage. As crazy as that sounds, right? Especially,
it does sound pretty crazy. I'm gonna tell you right now, it does sound.
But especially in something like Trials, if I'm running a Thresh weapon and and those are Weld's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, actually, I bet Cammy's actually pretty hyped for the well change.
Because they didn't say anything about the orbs gaining super
no.
energy.
Nope.
Because
I think that'll be unchanged. Otherwise, they probably would have mentioned it, right?
They have to, dude.
Yeah.
A Crest Titan bubble? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The drops the mega big orbs when casting more to Dawn, and especially if you're running a 6-stack and 3 of them are on Dawn, you could still do the same thing that you've seen with the chaining.
Right. The game on console is already slow paced. This is about to make people lane a lot harder.
I agree.
CoolGuy, you play on console.
No, I agree. I agree.
That people are gonna lane harder?
Yes. Absolutely.
Don't you not want that?
I don't want that. That's what I was talking about earlier with the Jade Rabbit, dude.
So what are we talking about for how to? Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, as long as
just let's take a map. Midtown is a big 6v6 map that comes up all the time. We don't really see that in Trials too often.
Not too often.
You're spawning in. I have a flux grenade. It's got a 3-minute cooldown, right?
Yeah, right.
But just thinking about abilities, that could be the dodge, that could be the rift, that could be anything. You know, you're gonna have to be really conscious of what you do with that. Because if you
keep going.
Well, again, it depends on what they've done to each one. Like they gave us some examples. Some are only like 15 seconds, that's fine. It really is. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's
saying, but I don't think it's gonna slow down that much. Like I think with based on, like there's still, like Icarus Dash, you can still close the gap. I mean, like Hunters, you can still dodge to close the shotgun gap. The cooldown ain't that bad. You can close that dodge shotgun gap pretty quick. Fucking, like, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna slow down as much as that person is worried that it will slow down to that degree. I don't think it will.
Capri Sting got a lot better.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true.
But still, they just scream, dude. Lucky Pants, Gemini Jester, Stompies.
Longer shoulder charge. Yeah, that's fun.
Nezarec Sen got a lot better too.
Nezarec got a lot better.
Stag's
Peregrine Greaves got a lot better.
Dude, Stag got hurt, man. Stag got hurt bad.
Stag got hurt pretty bad.
Getaway Artist. Now, Getaway Artist might actually become S tier. And I say that because remember, when it's getting tags by itself, it's getting itself back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, but you're going to be able to not use it as much because the cooldown timers are changing, right? Well, the play will be for just to equip whatever grenade has the quickest recharge time.
Correct.
And then just go ham with the Getaway Artist, right?
And double kick started even with it reduced. As long as it's getting tags, it's getting itself back. Oh, man. If people are laning, my Chromatic Fire can come back out.
Yeah.
Boots of the Assembler. That's going to be just as good, I think, right?
Yeah. It's a good hurt.
I think Syntheseps are getting ready to come back.
Oh yeah, and Synthos are already pretty good.
They're already pretty good. One-Eyed Mask is like I said, dude. All of these are they're no-brainers now. Like I'm not gonna use a lot of these now. I have to see. I have to see what they've done to the cooldowns.
Mm-hmm.
Like Armamentarium doesn't sound like a good pick anymore to me. It really doesn't in comparison to what you can do with even the Path of Burning Steps. So
yeah.
But like I said, I trust them.
I trust them. All right, I hate to cut the conversation short, but I gotta bail and get prepped on some other work for today. But there's a fuckload to think about. Any parting thoughts that you have, cool guy?
I can't wait to try it. I also like I said, the only thing
horrified, but also excited. You know,
the only thing that I am not even upset about, it's more I'm wondering.
Sure.
Is the base system of mobility, resilience, discipline, strength.
I know you are worried about that, yeah.
I was worried about that in relation to what you need in the Crucible, because nobody really, is high into discipline for a grenade build anyway right now. But now you're making that longer, so what am I going to do? I'm just going to put it all into recovery. I want to put it all into my class ability. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I totally got you.
That's my worry.
There's so much to think about.
Trust.
So much if I can think about.
Trust.
Yeah. I'm heading offline, but that was a great. There's so much to review for that TWAB. It's insane. The video, if you came in late, I'm gonna put up the video on YouTube of me and CoolGuy reading the TWAB together and sharing our thoughts. Shout out to CoolGuy. Go follow him on Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Hey, GG's, man. Thanks for the talk.
Dude. I'll hit you up later. I got some stuff to do now, but I'll talk to you later.
All right, bro. Catch you later.
Buddy.